Alright, so how much do you need to study to learn a language? This video is basically going to be an explanation for beginners on how much you really should be studying to learn a language efficiently. That's going to be the only thing we're talking about in this video. The minimum study time kind of per week or per day, that kind of thing. We'll talk about how much you need to do that so that you're not really wasting your time and, forgetting stuff and that kind of thing. So I do make content helping beginner language learners, guys. If you do like that, hit the subscribe button and check the description later, but I'm not going to waste your time. So let's begin straight away. Does studying more mean you learn faster is, I think, a good place to start? And the answer is absolutely yes. Increasing study volume, by study volume, I mean just the amount of time you spend studying, will mean you learn a language faster. So say you study 1 hour a week, just a random example. I'm not trying to say that's a good amount of time to study. Studying 1 hour a week versus studying 2 hours a week, obviously studying 2 hours a week is better and you will learn faster and more efficiently because you've increased the study volume. So just the amount of time you spend studying. And there are different ways to go about this depending on your language learning goals, but the main points I'm going to be addressing in this video are just a lot of people are concerned about how much they need to spend learning a language. Like some people think, do I need to spend 8 hours a day or something, like a very large amount of time learning a language to actually learn it properly? Or can I just learn like a couple times a week or maybe even once a week? And I'm basically just going to kind of show you guys what is reasonable, because you can actually do a bunch of different things, but I'm going to show you what is ideal and what to expect for the amount of time you're going to invest. So minimum study time. At a bare minimum, I would say you do need to study multiple times a week. The reason for this is if you only study once a week, the way learning works is that when you learn a new concept, say you're learning greetings or something in a language, if you learn it once, the more time the more time there is between when you first learn it and when you practice it, the harder it is to actually remember it, because you want a language to be in your brain's long-term memory. And when you're not consistently doing something, it doesn't really go into your long-term memory. So if you think of a job, for example, where someone has to do something to their job, they're doing it daily, which means that eventually they're not going to really need to use the instruction manual or whatever, because it's just into their brain. They have to do it consistently. So with language learning, it's the same principle, where if you only study once a week, presumably you're not going to learn that many new concepts every study session. So it's going to take a week before you actually use that again, which is really not great for learning. So at a bare minimum, I would say you should probably study 3 or 4 times a week at an absolute minimum. You're not really going to learn very well if you do less than that. Like if you do 1 hour a week, once a week, it's going to be really difficult to remember things. Just trust me, okay? So ideally, you should study daily. I understand that this isn't feasible for everyone, but that is really the best thing. If you can study every single day, even if it's not that much, even if you only have to put in, 20 minutes some days because you just don't have time, that's absolutely fine. You will definitely make progress fast because you're learning something or you're practicing something, and then the next day you're hitting it again. You're hitting that nail harder and harder into the plank of wood, as you might say, and then you're going to learn a lot quicker because you're constantly refreshing something, and that's going to be lodged into your brain, and you're actually going to have difficulty forgetting it if you're doing it that consistently. So yeah, remember, increasing study volume does lead to faster results. Don't complain you're not learning, which I know it is really frustrating when you're trying to practice something and you just can't remember it, you can't get it into your head. But the number one reason that isn't lodged into your long-term memory yet is just because you haven't done it enough to get it lodged into your head. So just keep doing things, increase study volume, and that is how effectively you get faster results. But yeah, the actionable step I would recommend is creating a habit tracker and ticking off the days you study as well. So if you could set yourself a weekly goal, we have talked about this in my language learning goals video, which I'll have pop up on the screen right now. When you set a soft goal, which is basically like a weekly target, you're going to learn twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever. Ideally, you make one of those and then you can tick it off as you go. So yeah, your actionable step would be creating a habit tracker and ticking off the days you study. So you could set yourself a goal of, for example, 3 times a week, and then you try and meet that by studying 3 times a week, and you can tick it off and look at your progress. But yeah, that's basically all there is to it. You don't need to overthink it too much. If you guys do have any questions, you're welcome to comment them down below is what I meant to say, and I'll answer them. But yeah, the bottom line is studying is one of the cornerstones to learning. Don't jeopardize yourself. Increasing study volume is one of the best things you can do to learn a language quicker. And whilst there isn't really a minimum amount of time to how much you should study to learn a language, the more the better. And if you're learning once a week or even less than that, like once every few weeks, you won't learn a language. So don't do that. Don't believe any rubbish you see on the internet where people say they can learn a language without really studying that much. That's not true, and they're clickbaiting you. So yeah, guys, I do have free educational guides to popular languages on my website, as well as my coaching, which you can see in the description. And yeah, I would appreciate a like and subscribe because I do put in a lot of effort to help you. So yeah, do me a favor. Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys and have a good one.